What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian from House of Rasslin, and this is my review for the June 24th episode of AEW Collision. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and give this video a thumbs up on YouTube so that way more people can see this review. Man, tonight's episode of AEW Collision, I loved it. I am enjoying the show. Granted, it's only two shows, but so far this is a very good show. It's a fun show on a Saturday night. A lot of the feedback that I'm seeing on social media, a lot of people love it. They like it because it's more pro wrestling centric, which, on Dynamite, it's fast paced and everything. And, it's still, Dynamite is pro wrestling centric, but it just has a different style, a different flavor, different pace. Like, it's just different, and it's a fun different. And it's really interesting how AEW has, in a weird way, created its own alternative from its own product, which is really interesting. But man, this show started off with something that was really cool. And I'm just going to go into the things that I liked about this episode because this was a very cool episode. It does feel like that after Forbidden Door tomorrow, that we're probably going to get more things implemented in Collision soon. But I mean, to start this new show, AEW Collision, I mean, literally a week before Forbidden Door, and you have this inclusion of New Japan Pro Wrestling talent and, talent that, we haven't seen on AEW for months. In Miro's case, a year almost. It's pretty cool. It's special. It's unique. And I think for us as wrestling fans, I think we should appreciate it because I don't think we're going to see this again for a long time. And it's very unique with everything that's happening, the style, the look, the presentation. There's a few things that Kevin Kelly said tonight on commentary that I'm going to go into that I loved it. I like Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness. Their commentary this week is, you can tell after one episode, it's like, okay, we need to do this. And now this episode, like, they're slowly gelling, which that's the one thing that stands out about this show. And for this being the second episode, there was a lot more things that I noticed on this episode that I'm like, you know what? I see why I like this, and I'm also seeing why several other people are enjoying this show. And I do got to say, the two-man commentary on Collision, it flows, it's unique, and I think what Dynamite does, and I think that's an issue that they might have to really work on, is the three-man booth. I think it's gotten to the point where it's old, and I think on Dynamite they should stick to two because it's, you could see you notice the difference from commentary on Dynamite as opposed to Collision with Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness. There's just a different vibe, and I think that's something that on Dynamite they kind of got to fix because, I'm noticing that big glaring difference, and it's like, okay, on Dynamite sometimes the commentary talks over each other, and it takes away from the actual storytelling that an announcer and color commentator does in a wrestling match. So that's something that I noticed tonight. But this episode starting off with, as soon as it hit 7 o'clock, you just had Ricky Stark, CM Punk, and FTR going straight to a promo. And they had this music bed that was very similar to how Saturday Night's Main Event back in the late 80s, early 90s, how they used to begin the program where the wrestlers would give a promo, then it'd go into the intro, then it'd go straight to the crowd, and then it'd go into the match. That's what this episode started off with, which I dug it. It was cool. And I noticed more people on social media that were just like, "Yo, I like this. This is cool. Man, this reminds me of Saturday night's main event. I like this vibe. It's cool." And promo or Punk, FTR, and Ricky Starks gave a great promo. Then it went to the Bullet Club Gold and the Guns. They gave their promo, and then it went straight to the intro of Collision. Then Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness welcomed everyone. I love that. I hope they do this every week, and they mix it up with the wrestlers, because if they do that, it's gonna give AEW Collision its own identity and separate it from all the other shows that we have watched from AEW, especially Dynamite. And I think that's really cool, especially if there is some sort of soft brand split. That, if you're going to go that route, if you have it, that feel and that vibe, it's like, oh man, this is good. And man, right off the bat, people just dug it. They're like, okay, I'm digging this. This is cool. I'm enjoying it. Man, okay. Let's go. And then, of course, with the Elton John Saturday Nights for Fighting, it's a cool, relaxing vibe going into a wrestling show. And I liked it. I liked it. Like I said, I hope they do this going forward, because a lot of us that grew up in the 80s and early 90s of Saturday Night's Main Event, it's right up our alley. Like, oh man, this is cool. Like, I remember this. This was so dope. And yeah, you just heard the music, man. It's like, yo, this is like Saturday Night's Main Event. Like, yo, this is dope. And of course, the live crowd from Toronto, very excellent. But man, that started. I love that. It was cool. You had the right people doing it, and it was for the main event. So I mean, man, whatever the main event's next week, and they do that, and they just hype it up, and it just gives it that feel. And I saw several people, mention like, man, was this how wrestling on Saturdays was 30 some years ago? And I replied, I'm like, yeah, this is how it was. And I remember how WCW Saturday Nights at its peak was. And this isn't during the Monday Night Wars. This is like pre-Monday Night Wars, where it was the only prime time Saturday wrestling show. And going back to the 80s, when it was World Championship Wrestling, where it was a flagship show of Jim Crockett Promotions. And I mean, Saturdays you had Ric Flair, the Horsemen, Sting, the Road Warriors, the Steiners, oh my God, the Great Muta, Luger, the Rock and Roll Express. Like, I'm giving Nate, like, that was on Saturdays for 2 hours. And man, it was so good, man. And this was nice, man. The other thing that I liked about the show that stuck out to me was the build for Forbidden Door. And this was really cool how they built this up. And I mean, I have to say, I was there last year for Forbidden Door, and I remember how everything was built. And it was last year, man, just from this time last year in AEW, there was so much clutter that they were still dealing with the changes and just transition of Cody Rhodes departing and going to WWF. Then Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor. Then you had the string of injuries. Then you had MJF Double or Nothing no show at the signing. Then you had CM Punk's injury, and you just had so much stuff going on. And then you had backstage turmoil. So you had so much stuff going on this time last year in AEW. And this year, it just feels like a complete 180 for this build for Forbidden Door. And I love it. The best thing they did for Forbidden Door was announce the 2 matches, Okada, Bryan Danielson, and Omega and Will Ospreay. That just set the tone right away, as opposed to last year, because there was so much uncertainty, because you had so many guys that were injured. You had Punk injured. You had Danielson injured. You had Kenny Omega injured. You had few guys on New Japan that were injured, and you're like, okay, who's going to come over? So This year, I'm loving it. I mean, you had tonight. It was revealed who Sting and Darby Allin's partner is. Like that started off right after the promo from the main event. Jericho uh, comes out. Tony Schiavone, he introduces Sting, and then Jericho comes out with Suzuki, and they're just talking and just running down Toronto and everything. More Jericho than Suzuki. He just stood there. Sting and Darby come out, and they're asking who's the partner, who's the partner. Tatsui, uh, Naito comes out, and he's the third man. So we're getting Sammy, Jericho, Suzuki versus Sting, Darby, and Naito. And that's going to be a dope match. That is going to be dope. This card is stacked. And, man, this might be the pay-per-view of the year. This is a good card, man. And, I mean, this card could... I would say if you had to compare night one of WrestleMania and this card, I would have to say they're equal. I can't say that one's better than the other because, of course, both products are different. But I do got to say that it's just complete, like, they're equal as far as, man, I want to see, with the WrestleMania night one, man, is Sammy and KO going to defeat the Usos for the tag titles? And then you had Rhea Ripley and Charlotte just tear it down. And then with this, Forbidden Door is just like, man, this is really cool. So it's really, I got to say it, man, in this review, like right now, we're getting some really good stuff from WWE. Granted, it's not perfect. We're getting some really good stuff from AEW. It's not perfect, but it's good. So we're getting this balance of nice quality, complementary, alternative wrestling from both promotions. And for me, I like it because when I watch WWE, I'm watching WWE and they're not trying to be AEW, and vice versa. When I'm watching AEW, they're not trying to be WWE, and it's so refreshing. Impact's doing their thing. MLW is doing their thing. Stardom is doing their thing. CMLL is doing their thing. AAA, they're doing their thing. So it's fun. So yeah, we got who's the third partner or third man. It's funny. It kind of sounds like the Bash of the Beach 96. So Naito is Sting and Darby's partner. I like that. You got it out the way right at the beginning of the show. Of course, everybody was talking about, oh man, we got Naito, Jericho, and Suzuki. Like we know who the Sting and Darby's partner is. So that right away gets people talking. It's like, oh man, this is gonna be cool. And of course, Sting and Naito, they're on the same team. It's like, oh man, this is so cool. They're gonna be like, oh man. So you have that. Then you had MJF. He was mocking Tanahashi after his win over Swerve Strickland, which that was a really good match. That was the first match of the night, which I really enjoyed. Swerve Strickland, man, he's gotten bulkier. He's gotten stockier. That's the I would use that term. He's stockier. It's like, oh, okay. And I know I've seen a few people online were like, well, it's stupid. Why didn't they have Swerve win? And it's like, Tanahashi's going to face MJF literally tomorrow. Like, it doesn't look good if the challenger for the AEW title loses the night before. That's something WWE would do. It's not something that AEW would do because they want to present, especially for Forbidden Door, they want to present the champion and challengers as very strong and just a compelling story. Like, man, MJF is going to win. He's going to win. But then they want to leave you with that little bit of doubt where you're just like, damn, I think Tanahashi might. Damn, what if he wins? Like, are we going to get CM Punk and Tanahashi at, All Out or All In? Like, what? Like, could that happen? So, yeah, I love the match, and yeah, it made sense for Tanahashi to defeat Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland, he's getting some gold real soon. Like it ain't if, like it's when, because he's circling. He's gonna get something. Then you had the Outcast. They attempted to attack Willow after her um, Owen Hart's tournament match against Nyla Rose. She advances, and I do like that they addressed her as New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Women Champion. Again, the Outcast, Ruby Soho, Tony Storm, and Saraya come out, try to attack her. Sky Blue comes out with a chair. Man, Sky Blue has just like elevated her stat. You know what? What's interesting is that in some ways there is a slight parallel between the I don't want to say kind of a push that Liv Morgan got last year to Sky Blue. Like they're kind of similar and they resemble like how they like just started just moving up the ladder and everything. And Sky Blue is really, man, she has grown as a professional wrestler. You could tell that the more she's out there, like she's doing her thing. It's not how it was when she first came there and it's just like, okay, she's comfortable. And that's cool because the more comfortable a wrestler is out there, the more they're going to entertain us. And the more we get entertained, the more we're just going to invest. So I like what I'm seeing from Sky Blue. Like, this is fun. And, you know, this interaction, like, again, this is just building to tomorrow's match with Tony Storm versus Willow. Man, I don't know who's going to, man. I don't think Willow's winning. I could be wrong. That would be a major shock if Willow won the AEW Women's Championship. That would be shocking. But for me, I do think that we're going to see Tony Storm win, walk out with the title. One thing that I did notice, and I don't have it on my notes, but I noticed several other people have been mentioning it. And as I've gone back and watched AEW, I've noticed it, that they keep mentioning Willow's win over Mercedes Moné. Now, of course, well, they're supposed to. We kind of got to like. I could see people take it that way because, of course, it's like, okay, they have to say that because, okay, she did beat Mercedes Moné. But again, AEW likes to when they overemphasize something, that is a clue. That is a hint. Like, okay, well, granted, right now we know Mercedes Moné, she's injured, but we know that she's gonna, when she comes back, something's gonna happen between her and Willow. So I noticed that and I'm like, okay, are we gonna get this at Grand Slam or Battle of the Belts or a Collision? Like, we're probably gonna get it this year when Mercedes recovers from her injury and everything. So I don't know. We just gotta wait and see. Miro's promo, that guy gives the most. It's a combination of like very creative, intriguing, off the wall, and leaving you with like, I want to hear this guy give more promos. Like, this guy's awesome. And it was kind of hinted that online that, or alluded to, that he would be somewhat addressing what title he's going to go for. And he really didn't necessarily go in that direction, but he did mention, you know, I was exiled for a year. I'm the righteous without seeking a reward. He's renounced his God, his gold, and his beautiful wife. I am no longer the Redeemer. I'm gutless. Which, that last part, I'm like, okay, he's not the Redeemer and gutless. So I'm like still trying to wrap my head around Miro and what he meant by that. And it's probably going to take me the next time he appears on AEW and gives another promo and like has a match to really like, okay, if he's not the Redeemer, and like, what does it mean when he said, I am gutless? You know, what does that mean? And I think that's pretty cool. I could see like some people like, that makes no sense. Why did he do that? But for me, it's like, okay, what does he mean by that? Like, is he going to explain it the next time he's on TV? Like, is he going to go after someone and show it in the ring and attack someone or accept someone's challenge? Like, how is he going to explain, I am gutless? Like, how is he going to go about it? So I like that. A lot of people love Miro. When he was there last week in Chicago at Collision, he got a big reaction. People love him. He's one of my favorite wrestlers in AEW. So I'm intrigued what Miro's going to do next. Then we had the Owen Hart's men's tournament promo. Man, I love this video package. This is something, man, I don't recall. I think AEW did it maybe once. And I think they did it when they had I don't think it was on TV, but I think it was on their social media. It probably was the women's tag team tournament they had, or the women's tournament they had with Sheeta and a lot of the Joshi wrestlers. I think it was one of those two tournaments, but this, I loved it. All the participants gave a promo. This was for the men's bracket. Kojima gave a promo on Punk, vice versa. Roderick Strong gave a promo on Joe, vice versa. Dustin Rhodes gave a promo on Powerhouse Hobbs, vice versa. Juice Robinson gave a promo on Ricky Starks, vice versa. So every man that's involved in the men's Owen Hart's tournament had something to say about their opponent. And I was like, ooh, this is a really cool promo. And of course, a third of these matches, with the exception of Kojima and Punk, which is going to happen tomorrow. So next Collision, you're going to get Roderick Strong versus Samoa Joe, Dustin Rhodes versus Hobbs, and Juice Robinson versus Ricky Starks, which I like that. I could see why some people don't, like, I don't like it. Why are they doing this? For me, I like it because it emphasizes that next week's Collision, there's stakes. Like, these are tournament matches. So, like, whoever wins these matches advances in the Owen Hart tournament to win the Owen Hart tournament. So it adds that. So that's 3 matches right there. I'm interested to see what the 2 matches will be after added to that, because normally I believe they've done 5 matches total for Collision the last 2 episodes. I know this episode they did 5. And I believe the last episode they did 5. I can't remember, but I love that video package. It was dope. The other thing, like I mentioned earlier in this review, Kevin Kelly on commentary with Nigel McGuinness, they're starting to get that chemistry. And man, Kevin Kelly with a Monty Brown reference when Willow Nightingale hit her pounce. I love that, referencing Monty Brown. He's the one who made that move very popular. That was cool. And then this little nugget, man, this was so good. And I know some people might see this as very minute, but man, this was so good. And it was him mentioning when Hobbs won his match, like, man, I've been wanting to call Hobbs matches for a few years. And it's like, wait a minute, Kevin Kelly was in New Japan, so it references like, man, Kevin Kelly's been watching Powerhouse Hobbs, so he must studied Powerhouse Hobbs' matches and his repertoire and his move set and, just how he goes. It's like, ooh, man, that's a really good thing to do, man. That's so damn cool, man. I like that. That was cool. And then finally, we had in the main event, man, CM Punk got booed. And another nugget by Kevin Kelly. Right away when CM Punk came out and he got booed, well, we're not in Chicago anymore. Man, it's the attention to details that he is bringing so far that it's like, man, that is some good stuff. That is a good thing to establish that, okay, does CM Punk only get cheered in Chicago, but outside everybody sees him a villain? Of course, alluding to what's transpired, 8 months ago between him and the Elite and everything. So it's like the announcers are kind of playing into like only people in Chicago cheer Punk because, granted, Punk's been out with an injury in this but everybody outside of Chicago just doesn't like Punk. And he kind of alluded uh, to that last week when he said, some people are going to love me, some people are going to hate me. I don't care. And he was playing into it, man. Just going like doing like this. And someone referenced on Twitter that was there that he was doing push-ups and the crowd was booing him. So it's like, not if, but when is CM Punk fully going to turn heel? And I'm noticing on Twitter specifically that more and more, actually I've seen it on Facebook too and a few on TikTok. I'm noticing more and more people, even a few podcasts, I'm going to go there. More and more people are open to the idea of CM Punk joining the Bullet Club Gold. And right now, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would CM Punk? He's feuding with him, this. But if he's leaning into it, and granted, if by some chance we're getting a CM Punk versus the Elite match, whether it's with FTR, or if it is with Bullet Club Gold, because there's history with the Elites and the Bullet Club Gold. The Elite were former members of Bullet Club Gold, and again, last year's Forbidden Door, the Bucks were honorary members of the Bullet Club. So you have that tie-in. So it's interesting to see where this is going to go with CM Punk. Interested to see. I know tomorrow, like, if he got booed tonight, he's going to get booed at Forbidden Door. Like, that's, oh no, they're gonna boo him. But it's interesting to see what happens if he shows up on Dynamite next Saturday. Is he gonna continue to boo? I think this whole month they're in Canada, so I think he's gonna get booed for the whole time that they're gonna be in Canada. That's a strong possibility. But yeah, this main event was really cool. I liked it. At the end, you had the Gun Club and Bullet Club Gold. They do the guns up. So I wish they would just make it official. The guns are in Bullet Club Gold, or I don't know. I just wish they would just get to the point already. Maybe that's just me already. Like, all right, get to it so we can add more members and stuff like that. But that was a really dope main event. But man, CM Punk getting booed, and what I seen on Twitter from several people who were in attendance, that it was very loud, and they just didn't, like, they booed CM Punk. And it's cool when you see CM Punk, he knows he's getting booed and he's playing into it. Like, that just adds more into it. Like, oh man, this is so good. Instead of trying to, no, I'm the babyface, you shouldn't boo me, and trying to get a react. Like, he just got into it, and Jay White and the Guns and Juice Robinson, they picked up the win. Ricky Starks got the loss. And there was a point in the match towards the end where I'm just like, man, is Ricky gonna turn? Like, that's something that I'm like, there's so much intrigue and question surrounding this feud. Like, is Punk gonna turn on FTR? Is Ricky gonna turn? Are we gonna get a Ricky and Punk, have some sort of feud which leads to Punk going down that path of turning heel? I don't know. It's a lot, but like I said, man, this episode of AEW Collision, man, this was a fun episode. Man, it's just something about watching professional wrestling on a Saturday night that's fun. And maybe it's me. I'm a kid of the 80s and growing up with World Championship Wrestling for Jim Crockett Promotions, later becomes WCW Saturday Night, or even the last year of WCW in the Chicago market, from 7 till 9, you would get 1 hour of WWE, 1 hour of ECW, and 1 hour of WCW. And that was a 3-hour block that you got professional wrestling on Saturdays. So um, that's something that kind of I hearken to. I'm like, man, it's so cool to watch wrestling on Saturday. It's just something relaxing, free. I don't know. Just comment below what you guys feel about AEW Collision and pro wrestling and on Saturday nights. Like, how do you guys feel about it? And man, I enjoy it. This show was fun. I'm looking forward to next Saturday. Granted, I am really looking forward to tomorrow night at Forbidden Door. So let's see what happens. But man, this was a fun episode of AEW Collision. Man, I'm loving it. I'm digging it. So let me know what you guys think. Comment below. That is my review for the June 24th episode of AEW Collision. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you're notified when the House of Wrestling drops its latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Whoo boy, Forbidden Door is going to be